Shattered Space No Spoilers First Impressions. Should you buy it? Hello everyone, this is Richard. Welcome to Starfield Essentials! Shattered Space, the first DLC for Starfield, is now live. In this video, I will share my initial thoughts after playing for about 2 hours. I will avoid discussing anything that reaches beyond what Bethesda has already released. I'm sure I will have a follow-up to this video after I play more of the DLC. If you didn't buy the DLC, you still got an update to Starfield today. On my Xbox for PC installation, it was 18.3 gigs for Starfield and 8.7 gigs for Shattered Space. Starfield is now running version 1.14.70. Shattered Space installs into its own directory, similar to other Xbox content like the Starfield artbook or other games. Right from the start, the Shattered Space DLC gives players more of what we have been requesting from Bethesda. The DLC begins with the player docking with a new star station. This means you need to be in space. I had to make several jumps to different star systems before the new Oracle quest began. If you also have trouble starting the DLC, try jumping to a star system that you have not visited before. There does not appear to be any fixed location for this new station, and that is part of the new quest line. Once on the station, you will find yourself in Zero G. This is one of the aspects of the base game that many players enjoy. I have previously had some trouble navigating in Zero G, but in this scenario I managed to move around just fine. The visuals are gorgeous. I'm playing in 4K with DLSS and DLAA on my PC, and it looks just amazing. The sound is also captivating and spooky. I play with a gaming headset for audio, and I can just barely hear some eerie disembodied voices in the beginning of the DLC. I also noticed some new music during some of the quieter moments in the game. I know some of you have looked for darker content in Starfield. From what I've seen, this is not really that dark, which I like. There's more close-in jump scare encounters right away. If that bothers you, I found that you could run away in some cases, and the enemy would just disappear. This opening scenario is clearly meant to be unnerving, but I got worse vibes from the Entangled quest and Operation Starseed and their environments. Regarding the difficulty level, I recommend stocking plenty of medical supplies. Some of the new bad guys in the DLC pack quite a punch. Typically, I play with very hard settings for player and enemy, which means I deliver less damage and my foes deliver more damage. I dialed both of these settings down a bit for the DLC. In this initial playthrough, I'm using my original Xbox player, who is totally vanilla. He's level 134, but only NG1. My companion is Andreja. In my normal game, I play with the Gangs All Here mod and run with a party of 4 or 5 NPCs. When only Andreja and I are active, it's easier to get overwhelmed by adversaries. Speaking of Andreja, we have arrived at my only real criticism of the DLC thus far. Everyone knows Shattered Space is about House Va'ruun and involves their homeworld of Va'ruun Kai. This should be a big deal, especially given Andreja's companion quest. I specifically chose Andreja as my companion for the DLC, hoping we would hear some insightful and probably emotional commentary from her. This is not the case. For all intents and purposes, I think you could replace Andreja with Barrett and have pretty much the same experience. There's even some fairly significant choices and events that happen early in the DLC that should have prompted more commentary from Andreja. Aside from maybe one line, I didn't hear much of anything special. The Va'ruun we met in Dazra didn't even recognize Andreja as being one of the promised. The main NPC simply called her my compatriot. This seems like a missed opportunity. I could almost see a mod like Appropriately Reactive Andreja and Va'ruun being developed to accompany the DLC. Back to the content. I've only briefly looked at Dazra, and it's a neat new city, albeit on the small side. It reminds me of Gagarin, with many tight, closely packed levels. This could change as I get a better look at the DLC. While walking during the main story, I encountered a few NPCs who prompted one side quest. A group of child NPCs probably would have started a second side quest if I had spoken to them. I'm glad that there are additional scenarios to explore in Dazra beyond the primary story. Looking beyond Dazra, Va'ruun Kai is only one of several new moons and planets to explore. Va'ruun Kai itself is a moon of the planet Kavnik 1 in the Kavnik system. The system has 2 planets with their own moons. This is a spoiler-free review, so I don't want to show or discuss too much that will take the surprise out of the game for you. A minor item that I'd like to mention is that there are opportunities to get some cool new apparel very early in the DLC. I managed to snag 2 neat sets of new Varun clothing on the space station. I put one on my main character and one on Andreja. Overall, I'm really enjoying Shattered Space so far. I've played about 2 hours and not yet finished the second scenario. Just the second scenario itself had some cool moments that have the potential to change the way your character sees themselves in the Starfield world. I might have to repeat these stories with alternate companions to see if they approve of my actions. I think buying this DLC is an easy decision if you are a fan of Starfield. Critics will probably notice the same issues I mentioned with Andreja's lack of responses and post RageTube videos about so-called lazy writing and other nonsense. I suspect this DLC will be a hit and encourage additional content in the next year. I will have more to say about Shattered Space as I play it. What do you think of Shattered Space? If you made it to this part of the video, leave a comment saying, "All must serve." Also, remember to ring the bell icon and select all notifications if you think Andreja needs to rethink her devotion to the Great Serpent. Check out my other videos if you want to learn how to keep your ship by building it in the Creation Kit, or my thoughts on the game's 1-year anniversary. My name is Richard, and I will see you in the Starfield.